Good morning. It's Tuesday, April the 7th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today. I don't take my cues from the left. I will not pretend to be neutral. I will not simply give you the facts and let you decide. I am partisan, and I'm here to convince and persuade. I will tell you what to do, where to go, and how to hang your laundry. I created this podcast to answer the question most asked by conservatives, namely, what can I do? My podcast is short and approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to, and shorter podcasts force me to get to the point. I've been listening to conservative talk radio since 1989. I've grown up in a socialist household, and I've seen the destructive effects of socialism up close and personal. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today, what can I do? Quote of the day, counter-proposals, and Glenn Beck gets it right. All that when I come back. Thank you. What can I do? Always provide a counter-proposal. For instance, single payer. How about single payer lawyering? The money that we save on legal fees would go to pay for the uninsured. Or we go ahead and allow people to buy health insurance across state lines. And if you don't go ahead and provide a counterproposal, you'll end up creating a psychological and intellectual vacuum. Single payer or nothing. Nature abhors a vacuum, so do voters. Next up, the quote of the day. Thank you. The quote of the day comes from Reactionary Mind by Corey Robin. Quote, "We do not want a cold Catholicism. We want holiness, ardent, great, and joyous holiness, intransigent and fanatical." Unquote. Next up, counter-proposals. Thank you. And Ayn Rand said, always listen to yourself. Listen to that little voice inside your head that tells you when something is wrong. And that little voice is called common sense. And common sense is urgently telling me that something is wrong whenever the right wing tries to defeat single-payer health care. When I think about it, I realize that there are two ways that the conservatives go wrong in response to single-payer. The conservatives' response is ideological, and it leaves a vacuum. Conservatives could make a much better case against single-payer by asking questions, number one, and providing counter-proposals. If we remember that there are two ways to say no, directly and indirectly. There are two ways to say no indirectly. Say yes and then negotiate, or say no or yes with conditions, or say no and then negotiate. Using either of these techniques will fill the vacuum and leave yourself and others psychologically satisfied. So for example, you could say yes to single payer, but with the proviso that no medical personnel would be unionized. Or say no to single payer, but provide an alternative such as cross-border insurance, or, again, suggesting something such as single payer lawyering. And next up, Glenn Beck gets it right. Thank you very much. Glenn Beck, the funniest man on AM radio. He has a natural sense of humor, is blessed with excellent delivery, timing, and a great voice. However, he said one thing the other day that was worth taking seriously. The government should not be concerned with giving us things, but taking things away, such as taxes, fees, etc. The government shouldn't be creating new programs to give us money, but give us money indirectly by cutting taxes or relaxing regulations. Temporarily cutting the payroll taxes, for instance, was a good idea because it's an example of the government operating within its constitutional authority. Using laws, rules, and regulations in prevention efforts is an unconstitutional waste of time, whether the government is trying to prevent crime, terrorism, or infection. The true conservative should use common sense. Just because the government is offering you something doesn't mean that you have to accept it. If you don't need it when you receive that $1,200 check, consider returning it. If, however, you do need it, use it. True conservatives are not martyrs. Back in a minute. Who is the true conservative? He's the person that has the courage of his convictions and is confident in what he knows. He's the person that understands that cultural conservatism is more important than political conservatism. He's not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He's patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He's open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He's consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He's a normal American, and he's better than the socialist. He's a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you're wasting your time. And that brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it.